Welcome back to Framingham Now. We're now joined with Mark Tilden, another candidate for mayor here in Framingham.
Yes.
Thank you so much, Mark, for coming on the show.
Thank you for having me.
I know you've been out there campaigning. I know you've been in the community for many, many years, so a lot of folks know who you are. But for folks tuning in at home that haven't had the chance to meet you yet, who is Mark and why is he running for mayor?
Well, Mark is a Framingham resident. I've lived here since 1986. My children went to the Brophy School, graduated from Framingham High School, did very well. I am an attorney in Framingham. My office is on Route 9, the westbound side. I've done criminal defense since 1988 as a bar advocate in the Framingham District Court representing indigent defendants. I'm also a real estate lawyer, and I believe those two parts of my background inform greatly my knowledge and experience of Framingham. I care deeply about this town, soon to be a city, and that is why I'd like to run to be the people's mayor.
Excellent.
And lead us into the future.
Oh, wonderful. So let's fast forward into the future. Let's say you get through the primary, you get through the November election, you become our first mayor here in Framingham. Mm-hmm. What are your priorities? Maybe top three things.
Well, on the signature trail, as I was getting enough names to get on the ballot, after introducing myself, I would tell them one of my main platforms is economic development, and I would describe how downtown Framingham, especially along with the intersection of Concord and Union Ave, where it becomes Hollis and Irving and Waverly Streets, really doesn't have enough commercial activity. A good big city needs a vibrant downtown, and what we need to do is promote growth and new development and make it comfortable for businesses that want to locate and invest here. One of my ideas I told them about was along Waverly Street and the downtown is to perhaps adjust our regulations and our ordinances that would allow businesses to open here with less of the red tape than we currently have. And I described to them, I thought it's a good idea to create like an overlay district to where we would loosen our zoning and permitting rules and other regulations such as signage in order to bring them in. And once the first few new businesses locate here, whether they're restaurants or other type of retail stores, I think others will follow. I point to Moody Street in Waltham that was once not very active, and now it's somewhat of a destination. And then just a few weeks ago, I saw an article in the newspaper.
Oh, the good old Metro West Daily News.
Right. Revitalization comes full circle about one vacant spot remains in booming downtown, and it's about Hudson. They were struggling. And they got together, and now there's businesses up and down the block. That can be us. It needs a concerted effort to get that way. Waverly Street is the marathon route. It's on the national stage once a year. I want people across America to see something better. That's one of my important economic development platforms. If I can go on a little bit.
I'd love to hear a couple bit more.
Well, we have a problem in the town which is on a lot of people's minds, and these are what I call zombie strip malls. And everyone knows what I'm talking about. It's the Knobscott Plaza, it's the Mount Waite Plaza, and School Street, the former state lumber site. These are all an eyesore, and they do damage to our neighborhoods. And we've got to do something to get together with the owners, and if we need to apply pressure to get them to develop them or to turn them around from what are asphalt deserts into economically vibrant retail strips, we'll have to do it, and to allow the folks that live there to take their neighborhoods back. Most folks know that Knobscott, for instance, it's a lease that was given to Shaw's Supermarket to keep the Country Fair Star that went empty, to prevent competition, which is laughable now that Shaw's up the street is got Whole Foods, an enormous store that's already opened up. What do they have to fear from us? State Lumber, that site on School Street, I understand, is leased to Stop and Shop for the same reason. So these are, business activities that I think are fueled by, you know, selfishness, and if I may say so, greed and owner indifference. They're collecting rents. What are they? They don't live there. Doesn't bother them that they're empty. Mount Waite, maybe there's something afoot. It may turn into housing. A lot of folks have strong opinions about that, plus and minus, but at least it's an improvement. It may be an improvement that creates some other challenges, but we've got to bring those back. And finally, economic-wise, Mass Bay is an important institution. We need to keep it here. We almost lost them in the last couple years. They're currently on a short-term lease at the former Farley Middle School. We need to put a full court press on them to get them to stay. It brings young people in the area. A school, you want to keep them there.
Excellent. I couldn't agree more.
That's my economic
excellent.
platform.
Whoever is elected mayor, I would expect them to help me, and help the other reps and the other leaders do exactly all of those things. Communities have grown accustomed to having a grocery store in the vicinity, and the closure of some of these retail shops, some of these stores have created food deserts, and people have to travel that much further to get quality produce and other things. Now, not only that, there's these eyesores in their backyard. And so I'm excited to hear you and other candidates for mayor talk about.
It discourages other businesses from locating there too.
And in Framingham as a whole.
My family partly owns a strip mall in Sudbury. I've operated it since 1997. I know how tough it is to get retail to come in, which is why I kind of sympathize with the fella that's trying to get permits to put housing at Mount Waite. I know from experience, if you have an empty vacant storefront, it can take about a year to fill it. Businesses are online right now. The ones that open stores, they're competing with people online. So that's why I've told people, if it's housing, we may have to accept that with all the pluses and minuses, the traffic, the challenge to the schools, school system. But you can't have a place like Knobscott Plaza, especially. And well, Mount Waite had the Big D supermarket. They're food deserts, and it just creates a disincentive for other businesses to open there too. And it's sat that way for at least 10 years. It infuriates me when I see that, because I own 3 condominium units right nearby Knobscott, and I used to buy my tenants gift certificates, so I feel bad.
Well, I really am grateful that you and others are having these conversations about the future of Framingham, specifically what we can do to bring in business, keep business, and make sure folks have access to what they need. One of the questions I've asked all the candidates running for at-large positions, but also mayor, is around our thriving immigrant community here in Framingham. As the state rep for the South Framingham, I hear this nearly every day. People are afraid in this political climate nationally, and they're looking to the next mayor, the first mayor and the first city council, in the same way they look to me to find a way to make people feel more secure in our communities. And I'm curious, as a candidate for mayor, what do you think Framingham can or should be doing?
Well, I own property on the south side as well on Beaver Street, so I've gotten to know fairly well the immigrant community, and as a criminal defense attorney, for better or worse, I've gotten to know them from that as well. What we have going on right now with the immigrant community, which puts them under great threat, is the activities of ICE, Immigration and Customs Enforcement. These are the folks that snatch people off the streets that are perhaps undocumented and put them in ICE lockup, they call it, which is a jail, sometimes never to be heard from again. Now, this has gone on for a long time as a criminal defense attorney. Normally, you'd get appointed to someone and you'd go to find them, to speak to them, usually down in the basement floor of the courthouse. And we were told, they're not here. The ICE agency has a detainer on them, so you're not even going to see them. Now, you have a client, and what they're doing is the client gets arraigned in the criminal court on his charge and is told to come back in a month or two to continue and to perhaps finish his case. Well, they come back on that second day, and after they're leaving the courthouse, ICE is there waiting for them and take them away. And I think that is just outrageous. What they are doing is, these are folks that either have no criminal record or have only committed very minor misdemeanors, many of them motor vehicle related. And they're what ICE is doing is taking mothers and fathers away from their kids, tearing up families, and putting fear in the community. And I know the police don't even like it because they need to get along and to connect with the immigrant community to gain their trust and confidence in order to investigate crimes and just have their trust that they're not going to turn them into the authorities. Now, I know that the current police chief, Chief Ferguson, about a month and a half ago, I was in a small meeting with him, and he said, because at the South Side apartments that I'm involved in, we needed to straighten out how police would respond to any type of calls, so on and so forth. He says, if we arrest someone, we don't ask what their status is. We're not in the business for doing that. He did say, however, that they do check on ICE warrants. I didn't question him on it at the time, but this is something I would want to look into as to whether, how it works on that and whether it's really necessary. As far as I'm concerned, ICE has never kept our streets safe. This is just a cynical move by the federal government, by the Trump administration, to go after folks whose status is unclear, take them off the streets, to appeal to his base, of which in Massachusetts there's very little of. If I had my druthers, I would just not have ICE in Framingham. I don't see that it would be much of a loss. Maybe I should start a campaign, call it Operation Crushed Ice, because all they do is take folks away. These people, they don't get lawyers in the lockup. They're not guilty of a crime. It's an administrative offense.
I think you've summed it up wonderfully. And as you said, people are afraid. People are afraid to take their kids to school, to go to work in a way that they weren't 6 months ago. And we can't operate as a thriving, diverse community if so many people within our community are afraid to do things as basic as go to the bus stop. Unfortunately, though, our time is quickly coming to an end. In the last 20 seconds, just to round out our interview, I ask every candidate this: what is it about Framingham?
Framingham is a great town about to become a city. It's always been among, if not the biggest town in America. I've always been impressed with how it has always kept faith with the kids. The children in Framingham have so many activities. The schools work so hard to get them through all of their grades. The athletic programs are among the best. If you've ever gone down to the ball fields, down to what they call the complex, it's pristine. The Park and Recs, Public Works are doing a great job. There's so many kids' activities on a weekend. It's just great, and it helps keep the community together. But living here 30 years, I've seen things, I've driven by things, I've met people that are are struggling. I think there's a lot that we can do to make this Framingham a city that is just has a very bright future.
Well,
I look forward to that.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Mark, for coming on the show. For those watching at home, I hope you will continue to get to know all the candidates. They're out there. They're knocking on doors. We have a primary coming up on September 26th, where the field will be narrowed down to 2 candidates who will then go on to the November 7th election. I hope you'll take the time to listen and watch all the interviews as I reach out to all the candidates running for mayor and hope they come on the show. And I hope you use those interviews to make an educated decision come this fall. Until next time, thank you.